All right. Whoa. Coming to you live from my living room. Welcome to the Nuke Zone. I got my chains back. Anybody who knows me knows I love wearing these chains. Okay. And I'm an Aggie fan. And these chains got caught on a chair and broke while they were losing to Notre Dame. Came back and won the game. And then they just kept winning. And I never got my chains fixed. I was like, you know what? I hadn't got them fixed. We keep winning. I'm not going to get them fixed until we lose. And at one point, I was like, man, I'm never going to get my chains fixed. We just kept winning and winning and winning. And then we played Texas, and I came back down to earth, and now I got my chains back on. All right. But hey, they got Miami coming up, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But before I do, I got to talk about the Michigan situation. Sherrone Moore fired. All right. And first it's just a firing, and then it's this, and then it's that, and you're like, oh my. And then the situation just keeps getting worse and worse and worse and worse. And I'm not going to talk about the off the field stuff. The only thing I'm going to say is it truly shocks me that somebody would throw all that away. Right? I'm sure a lot of you would agree with me. But that's all I'm going to say on it. Who's going to be the next coach? That's what I want to talk about. Okay. I know everybody on Michigan, they want Kalen DeBoer. All right. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think that's going to happen at all. Who would leave the Alabama job? That is a job you have to be ran out of town on. You're not going to leave that one willingly. It is a top 3 job in the country. Right? Is filling Nick Saban's shoes really freaking hard? Absolutely. Does Kalen DeBoer get a lot of hate just because that's who he's following up? Absolutely. Those are big shoes to fill. To me, and probably to a lot of other people, Nick Saban is the greatest college football coach ever. All right? So then you're following that up? That's tough. I'm not going to lie to you. The man, Kalen DeBoer is 10-2 with Alabama this year and in the playoff, and he gets unlimited crap for it. And because he lost the SEC championship. Nick Saban don't do that. That's what they all say. Nick Saban would have won. Nick Saban would have won. I understand that. But Kalen DeBoer is not Nick Saban. And you can't expect him to be. All right. He has top 5 recruiting classes like both years. He has them on the right path. Okay. Did he immediately win it all? No. All right. NIL has changed things, and he's winning. Why would you leave Alabama to go to Michigan? You're going to leave a top 3 job for not even a lateral move? Don't get me wrong. I think Michigan is probably a top 10 job. All right. It's a top 4 job in the Big Ten. Depending on what year it is, it could be number 1 in the Big Ten or number 2. You don't leave Alabama for Michigan. I don't think it's going to happen. I've seen that it's not going to happen. I think it's just a lot of wishful thinking for Michigan. Now, on the other hand, you got Jedd Fisch. I can see that one over at Washington. You got Kenny Dillingham down at Arizona State, and I find that one hard to believe. Not because that's a lateral, as absolutely an upgrade of a job, but Dillingham is from Arizona State. He wants to build a winner at Arizona State. But money does talk. All right, so we'll see what happens. All right, Arizona State is tough to win at. Okay, I mean, now you can make it a winner. And I think that's what he's end up doing and stays. We'll see who they go for. I'd give the Chargers defense coordinator a call. Oh, Winters. He has experience at Michigan. I'd give him a call. Does he take it? I don't know. But there's a lot of names on the board, a lot of people it could be. Just the ripple effect of the firing. What does that have on the team? Who stays? Who leaves? I feel like Michigan's one of those schools where they more so commit to the school than to the coach. All right? But we'll see. Now, moving on. Army and Navy. It's Army-Navy week, right? Both these teams. Navy comes in at 9-2. Army comes in at 6-5. Both these teams have top 5 rushing offenses. Shocker, okay? Flex bone, give it to them. Navy leads the all-time series 63-55 with 7 ties. They won last year 31-13. Okay, last year was a big game for them. Both of them won a lot last year. Okay, this year only Navy has. All right, Navy's coming off back-to-back upsets. They beat Memphis. They beat South Florida. All right, Army has a couple upsets this year too. They did beat a Power 4 team in Kansas State. All right, they also beat UTSA as dogs. They're both led by their quarterback. All right, Blake Horvath, over 1,000 yards rushing, over 1,000 yards passing. Yeah, I said passing. Okay. Kel Helms, he has over 1,000 yards rushing, over 500 yards passing. Both these guys got a couple other playmakers. Alex Teska, you got Heidenreich from Navy, and then Short from Army. I don't think any stat matters in this game. Is Army's defense statistically better? Absolutely. Is Navy's offense better statistically? Yes. I don't think it matters. Okay, not in this game. It's going to be a fist fight, and it's going to be fun to watch. Anybody who has watched this game knows it's fun to watch. Could it be just an absolute slugfest and nobody scores for 3.5 quarters? Yeah, it could. But it's so fun to watch. It truly appreciative of the game when you watch this one. All right. I got to make a prediction for it. I'm not going to dive in all the stats and everything because, like I said, I don't think it really matters in this one at all. All right. And you give a touchdown in this game, a touchdown worth of points, I'm taking the team who's getting the touchdown. Give me Army to cover at least. Okay. It's going to be a close game, I'm sure. It always is for the most part, excluding last year. But yeah, give me Army to cover. And if I got to make a bold prediction, I'm going to say Kel Helms has over 100 yards passing. He has 500 on the year. He's going to get 100 on Saturday. Bold, I know. But I'm going to enjoy watching it. I hope you tune in and watch it too and truly appreciate the game, man. They're going to run the ball a lot of ball control, but it's worth your time, I promise. Now, we're going to touch on the playoff. I will break these games down later, but we're just going to talk about them a little bit here. Friday night, first game, next Friday, December 19th, okay? OU versus Alabama, all right? They've already played. OU got the win in Tuscaloosa on homecoming, all right? Alabama turned the ball over 3 times. They had 3 total fumbles. They lost 2 of them. You threw a pick. You gave up a big punt return. Quite frankly, you gave the game away. Did Oklahoma cause you to give it away? Absolutely. They did. Don't get me wrong. But you gave the game away. You had 406 yards to their 212. Simpson threw for 326. Mateer didn't even throw for 150 that game. All right. Alabama, who doesn't run the ball, outrushed Oklahoma in that game. Alabama didn't win. Nope. But now it's a new game. All right. Mateer, this is absolutely going to be the most healthy he has been all year since he got hurt. And Alabama, their health question mark. Listen, Jam, Cuevas, Dewberry, Overton, Collins, Brailsford, how healthy are they going to be? Because if they're healthy, I feel pretty good about it. Okay, I know you're rolling into Norman at night. Okay, but can you cut down on the turnovers? If Alabama goes in, has 0 turnovers in this game, I bet they win. If they have 3 again, they will lose. This game could profile just like the last one. All right, Alabama won on every statistic mark, but they did not win on the scoreboard because they lost the turnover battle. Could we have a repeat of that? I don't know. We will see. Okay. Mateer's mobility, I'm going to touch on that. They lose to mobile quarterbacks. Okay. If you have a mobile quarterback, you can give Alabama a game. And Mateer is a mobile quarterback. What can he do? All right. How healthy is he? I feel like this is going to, like I said, probably the most healthy he's been since he got hurt. And then can he give a pulse to this OU offense? Because it's been dreadful. Okay. It has been absolute dreadful. They're a busted coverage away from not being here. But they got the home field advantage. Does it bite them in the butt for the second time clause? I call it the second time clause. When you play a team a second time, usually the game goes different. Alabama beat Georgia in Athens, and then Georgia just waxed them in the championship game. Do we have kind of a repeat here? I'm not going to rule it out, okay? I am not going to make a pick on this game until we get closer and I know who's playing, all right? Because those guys I listed off for Alabama, they need them. I'm not going to lie. They need them, all right? And we'll see what happens. I think it's going to be a good one, though, all right? Start to finish, I think it will be a good one. Alabama has the receivers to get down the field on OU, all right? If you're going to beat OU, you got to beat them through the air. That's how I think. Do they get some turnovers now? Absolutely. They get a heck of a pass rush? Absolutely. Beat them with the quick game. Don't let them get into the groove of the pass rush, all right? Because you can beat them through the air. Ole Miss did it. I mean, Ty threw for 326 last time. And then did he just throw kind of the game away? Joey Aguilar? Yeah, pretty much. But he threw for 398 on OU, okay? You can beat OU through the air. That or you just don't let their offense do anything because they're going to help you out in that regard, how they've shown since Mateer got hurt for the most part. So we'll see how that goes. I can't make a pick on it yet. I will do it when I break down this entire game. But, yeah. All right. Now, the big one, A&M and Miami, okay? 7 versus 10. A&M is the most explosive team I feel like that Miami has played. But Miami, in terms of speed, quickness, and overall athletic ability, is probably the best team A&M has played. It's right there with Texas, okay? And they're both getting healthy. A&M's going to get Moss back. They're going to get Scooby back. And then Miami gets a plethora. David Blake, Keontae Scott, if he can play. He still hasn't got ruled in yet. And my biggest question for them, have we seen the best out of them, okay? Because I think if we see the best out of them, they're a top team in the country, both of them, if we see the best. We've seen the worst, okay? I mean, I've seen a 4-interception game from Carson Beck this year, and I've seen a 2-interception game on back-to-back drives from Marcel Reed. So, which team's going to bring their best? Which team can take control of the football and not turn it over? Who can run the football? All right, A&M, they'll give up them big runs, okay? And it could Miami beat them 3 to 4 at a time with Mark Fletcher and company, okay? Because if you can beat them 3 or 4 at a time, eventually one's going to bust open. Look at Texas, all right? They couldn't get nothing done. They just stuck with it, and then Weiser hit the big one. And then the floodgates were open. A&M, this is one of the best run defenses they faced all year. You get your bell cow back in Moss. Can you beat them? Can you get 3 to 4 at a time? Because if you get 3 to 4 at a time with Moss, I've seen it firsthand, you're going to get them. All right, you're going to get the big one eventually, okay? And especially for A&M, because that play-action game, you got to have the run game. If you have the run game, their play-action pass is beautiful. You have speed at the wide receiver position. We'll see how Miami matches up with that. But up front, you got A&M's O-line versus Ruben Bain and this group of pass rush for Miami. Now, I do think this is probably the biggest set of pass rushers A&M has played. Bain's 275, Mesidor is 280, all right? The superstar top players that A&M has played, and Dylan Stewart, he's 250, 6'5". Colin Simmons, 6'3", 245. And then Pyburn, they may not be superstar. Pyburn's 260, Peyton's 255. Bain's bigger than all of them. All right, he's 6'3", 275, like I said. Mesidor, their sack leader, is 280. All right, they got a couple other guys. They're pretty big up front. Okay, how does A&M handle that? I think the most similar guy they might have played is Keldrick Falk. All right, he's 6'6", 285. At least in size. I'm not necessarily saying they have the same game, but in terms of size, that's the most similar. Ruben Bain is a top 5 pick, possibly. All right, he's top 10 for sure in my eyes. All right, he is an absolute game wrecker. Trey Zune, you said all them words, you better back them up. That's all I got to say, okay? Whew. Now, on the other side of this is the best pass rush Miami's played all year. Beck's only been sacked 9 times, though. All right, Francis Margolia. I'm sorry, I can't say some names. I am sorry. But the dude's a first-round pick. And like I said, Beck's only been sacked 9 times this year, okay? Cassius Howe and company, that third down, the Elko blitz packages. How does Miami up front handle that? How does Carson Beck handle that, okay? Can Carson Beck more so not make mistakes, okay? Elko's going to throw a lot at them. They're going to try to confuse them. They're going to try to make them make mistakes because you have the receivers over here. You got the freshmen. You got Daniel. They got playmakers, okay? So you're going to have to confuse Beck because, I mean, like I said, talent-wise, these teams could be the best in the country, but they haven't always lived up to it. When Miami is at the top of their game, they are very, very, very hard to beat. And then they might give you the SMU or Louisville type game, okay? And then A&M at their best, I mean, I think they could be untouchable at their best. The second half versus South Carolina was some of the best football we've seen. The second half versus LSU was some of the best football we've seen, especially the third quarter. What do we get on December 20th? Okay, it's in College Station, so A&M does have the advantage. But all I think it comes down to, though, is the turnovers. Who makes more of them? All right. Who can run the football and win the line of scrimmage? Whoever wins the line of scrimmage is going to win this game. Because whoever's getting pressure is going to cause the other quarterback to make mistakes. Whoever's stopping the run is going to cause you to get the ball quicker, and therefore it just goes hand in hand, man. Whoever wins the line of scrimmage. And lastly, can one of these teams start their peak? All right. I've watched every game of A&M this year. They have not played 4 quarters of football yet. And they're coming off what I think was the worst half they have played. All right. Yeah, you can say South Carolina because it's just straight up, they just played bad football. But in Texas, in that second half, you just got your butt kicked. All right. South Carolina didn't feel like you're getting your butt kicked. You're just playing bad, and then you came back from it. In Texas, you just thoroughly got beat straight up in the second half. All right, they just pushed you down the ground and stomped you out. South Carolina didn't stomp you out. You just played bad. So that's why I say the Texas second half was worse. How did they respond from that? Miami hasn't lost in a while, and they have responded from that SMU loss. Okay, they've been kicking people's butt. Simple as that. Like I said, both these teams are getting healthy, but who can reach their peak? Because you're going to have it when you go into Ohio State. You're going to have your best game. So somebody, whoever's going to win this, you need to start hitting it. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, I got to go with A&M in this one. Do these teams match up talent profile great? Absolutely. A&M, you got Kyle Field. It is going to be absolutely rocking, okay? I hope I am there. I put in for a media pass. Please accept it. College football playoff, please. I would like to go. But, I mean, these talent profiles are extremely, extremely good. Which one shows up more on Saturday? I think this all comes down to, I laid out those 4 points. Who can hit their peak? We will see. All right. After that game, we get Ole Miss and Tulane and Oregon and James Madison. I don't expect these games to be close. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to sit here and come into, I think one of these teams can upset. I'm not going to do that, okay? Would I absolutely love to see it? Absolutely. 110%. I would love to see one of these teams beat Ole Miss or Oregon. Would love it. Do I think it's going to happen? Absolutely not, okay? I'm just going to be honest with you. Listen, James Madison, they've run the ball a lot, okay? Oregon's one of the best teams in the country against the run. And then Ole Miss and Tulane. We've already watched Ole Miss beat Tulane by, 45-10? They just dismantled them, right? And Tulane has an awful pass D. Guess what Ole Miss is really good at? Slinging the football, moving the football down the field. They can do it. They have a great offense, okay? I just find it really hard to believe either one of these teams pulling off the upset. And would it be great for football if they did? Absolutely. It truly would. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you, it's going to happen, because I don't think it will. I'm giving about a 97% chance that both of them win. There's always that chance, though, and I'm going to leave it out there. I gave a little bit more than a normal person just because you never know. I mean, hell, both of these teams might turn it over 5 times, and then they've got a close game then. Who knows? All right. Knocked out the first round of games. Who do I think can win the national championship? Number 1, Indiana. All right, they showed me that they could by beating Ohio State. I think they could. Ohio State. All right, they're one of the most talented, if not the most talented team in the country. They have so much NFL talent across the board. Yeah, Ohio State can win the Natty. It's obvious. Georgia. All right, I had my questions about Georgia throughout the year, but I talked about hitting their peak with A&M and Miami a minute ago. Yeah, Georgia's hit that peak, and they're peaking. They're peaking at the right time. Versus Alabama was the best I've seen Georgia all year. Okay, truly dominant in the SEC championship game. They were truly dominant versus Texas. They were dominant versus Mississippi State. They're hitting their stride. I think they can do it. If I had to pick a team, and you're making me pick a team, give me Georgia. All right. Moving on. Oregon. I think Oregon could win it. Okay. They very good running the football. They're very good on defense. They can throw it when they need it. Dante Moore's made some of the best passes I've seen this year. I had my doubts. I'm not going to lie. Saw everybody hyping him up, so I had to go watch this guy. And then, dude's good. Okay. Oregon, I think, could win it. A&M. And I know. I got 7 teams on the list. Okay. A&M. I think they could get it done. If A&M could peak and take off here and play 4 quarters of football, 4 straight games, is it going to be hard? Absolutely. Do I think they have one of the hardest paths? Yes. I think they have the second hardest. Okay. And the only one they're behind is Miami. And the reason I give the edge to A&M being second is because they play at Kyle and then they play in Arlington. Miami, at least, they got to go to Kyle and then to Arlington. All right. Those ain't in Florida. A&M gets to stay in their home state. So I'm going to give them the second hardest path because you got Ohio State, and then I'm going to assume you got to play Georgia, and then whoever wins the other bracket. Okay. But A&M, they are explosive. And if they could ever peak, they could get it done. All right. But if they don't peak, they might lose round 1 to Miami. Okay. They're that type of team. Whichever one shows up for this next month, we'll see. Alabama. All right. Yes, I saw him in the national championship. Or I saw him in the SEC championship. Did not look good at all. Right, but Kalen DeBoer has coached the team to a national championship before. Can he win one now? Right, they are talented enough to do it. Right, I don't care that they don't run the ball. Right, they got a good defense. Right, and they got a good quarterback. They have the team to do it. Okay, it's just a matter of can they? Kind of like A&M. Can they do it? Can they come together and do it? Because they trotted into Athens and beat Georgia. I think they could. All right, you got to beat OU, then you got to go beat Indiana. Indiana got a tough draw, okay, because Alabama was one of the best teams in the country. I know everybody has the SEC championship fresh on their mind. They're still one of the best teams in the country. I think they could win it. And lastly, Miami. Like I said, we hadn't seen their peak. And if they peak and they start flying up, I think Miami could do it because their talent profile is one of the best in the country. And if they play up to their talent level, they're truly going to be one of those contenders. And just the same, they could lose week 1 or round 1. And you're like, hey, you left off Ole Miss. Yeah, I left off Ole Miss. Okay, I don't think they have the defense to truly get it done. And you're going to be like, well, what about A&M? A&M has a pass rush, okay? I don't really see that from Ole Miss. I don't see this, like, defense that can be dominant, okay? And the most biggest factor of all, Lane Kiffin ain't there. Lane Kiffin is not there. So I don't think they can win it, all right? I don't think Tulane can win it. I don't think James Madison can win it. And lastly, I do not think Texas Tech can win it all. Is Texas Tech a good football team? Absolutely. I agree. They are a good football team. Who have they played? BYU is the best team they played. All right? And that's not a shot at BYU. It's just that all these other teams I've listed, I think, are better than Texas Tech. Texas Tech has a really good defense. Absolutely. I question their quarterback play. What I think happens is Oregon's going to roll in and beat Texas Tech. Simple as that. That's what I think is going to happen. I think Oregon might beat them kind of like Ohio State beat them last year. I know, I said it. But that's how I think it could be. I just don't see Tech winning it. Are they on the right path? Absolutely. But there's a been-there-before factor, and I know some of them teams, there's a been-there-before factor, but they're not playing a team that's been there before to start it out, okay? And Tech, their first game is more than likely going to be against Oregon, and Oregon be fresh, ready to go. I just don't see it happening, okay? I do not have Tech in the playoff. Man, I do not have Tech winning the championship. I'm sorry. I know Red Raider fans are going to come at me, but I just don't see it happening, all right? Well, that's about it, man. Ready to get after Army, Navy tomorrow. Then we get the Heisman. The Heisman. Jesus. Yeah, Fernando Mendoza is going to win it. Okay, 3rd and 6 go route wins you it. All right. I'm not taking a shot at him. He had a great year. All right. Indiana, Kurt Cignetti has turned that program around in just 2 years. What he's done has been truly remarkable. All right. He's put a target on every coach's back for how quickly he turned Indiana around. Like the job he has done has been spectacular. It's better than spectacular. It's no words for it. All right. He turned a basketball school that has never won hardly anything at all in football, the second most losses in college football history, into the number 1 team in the country going into the playoff. So I am going to assume Mendoza wins it. I would like to see Pavia win it. I mean, I'm a Pavia fan, but I understand. Like, I get it. All right. One guy won the Big Ten on an undefeated year on the number 1 team. It's obvious. All right. And frankly, up until the 3rd quarter, I thought Pavia was going to win it. All right. And then he hit the 51-yard pass to Becker, and I was like, and then they scored a touchdown, and then they just kept going, and they stopped Ohio State. Then they stopped Ohio State, and then they won the game. And I felt like Mendoza locked it up right there. All right. I can't wait for the speech. All right. But, yeah, I think Mendoza's going to win it. Pavia coming second. Sand and Love, flip 3rd and 4. I don't care. Love, best running back in college football. Some NFL teams going to be very lucky. All right. But, yeah, there we go. Thank you for joining it. Jesus. I got tongue-tied a lot in this one, didn't I? But, yeah, let me get a drink. Today's Friday. So I work Sunday and Tuesday. So Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, I will be dropping full-length videos. I'll be dropping TikTok shorts on the way through. But, yeah, thank you for tuning in. Let's get after Army, Navy tomorrow.